Don Lemon recently had Stacey Abrams on his CNN show to talk about the sexual assault allegations against Joe Biden. Now, we've talked about these allegations in great detail. They were brought forth by a former Senate staffer of Joe Biden's, and she alleges, Tara Reid is her name, she alleges that she was sexually assaulted by Biden back in 1993. Now, the establishment overall has avoided this story. They've avoided commenting on it. So it is important to hear from someone like Stacey Abrams, who was mortified at the accusations against Brett Kavanaugh. Let's hear what she has to say.
Claiming that she was delivering Biden a duffel bag and says that Biden had her up against the wall in a corridor on the Hill and violated her with his fingers. Now, CNN has now spoken on the record with her former neighbor, who says Reid told her about the allegation within a few years of the alleged incident. Biden's campaign says untrue, never happened. Is this a credible allegation?
I believe that women deserve to be heard, and I believe that they need to be listened to. But I also believe that those allegations have to be investigated by credible sources. The New York Times did a deep investigation, and they found that the accusation was not credible. I believe Joe Biden. I believe that he is a person who has demonstrated that his love of family, his love of our community has been made perfectly clear through his work as a congressional leader and as an American leader. I know Joe Biden, and I think that he is telling the truth and that this did not happen.
So, John, I definitely want to get your thoughts. Before I do, though, I just want to note that the New York Times does not consist of prosecutors or private detectives or detectives at all. They did not conduct a deep investigation. Investigations into sexual assault are conducted by investigators, by law enforcement. That was not the case when it came to Tara Reid's allegations.
Exactly. And one newspaper looking into it can be useful, but it by itself is not a shield against which you no longer have to deal with any criticism for the way you or the candidate that you are at least affiliated with, if not trying to run with, has responded to this. The entire thing has been like, you don't get to be frustrated with the way people are responding to it now when Biden just avoided discussing it for a very long time. It wasn't an actual part of the primary when Bernie was running against him. And the way that the vast majority of figures who have responded very differently to other sexual assault allegations have responded to this, you should be frustrated about all of that, not frustrated that people are talking about it, personally.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. In fact, in this next clip, and credit to Don Lemon, because he did ask the appropriate follow-ups in this interview. In this next clip, he specifically asks about the double standard that we've been pointing to. Why is it that the allegations against Brett Kavanaugh should be taken seriously, but some of these Democratic politicians refuse to take similar allegations against one of their own seriously, especially considering some of the evidence that's been brought forth in this case. Witnesses who said that they talked to Tara Reid at the time. She disclosed the details of what allegedly happened. Tara Reid also said that, hey, you know what? I remember my mother called into Larry King's CNN show to ask what I should do since I was unwilling to go forward to law enforcement at the time. That video was uncovered, and the mother is seen, asking Larry King, hey, what should my daughter do here? To be fair, she didn't mention sexual assault or sexual harassment, but it did, bolster what Tara Reid was saying in various interviews. So you see this pattern of Tara Reid saying something, and then it's confirmed through actual evidence. And so there's actually more corroborating evidence in this case as opposed to what happened in the Brett Kavanaugh case. Why is this being treated differently? Well, Don Lemon is about to ask. Let's take a look.
2018, you tweeted it was shameful that Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination was being rushed forward and survivors of violence like Christine Blasey Ford deserve to have their voices heard. Are you applying a different standard now?
Not at all. I believe then and I believe now that women deserve to be heard because too often they are not. And Tara Reid deserved to have her story listened to and investigated. What was happening to Christine Blasey Ford was that there was no investigation. There was a rush to move the conversation forward so that no investigation was conducted. And as I said, I believe that those allegations needed to be investigated. And I believe that the New York Times and subsequent reports support what the Biden campaign has said. And I believe Joe Biden.
So you said you've heard her, you've heard enough, you don't believe her, you believe Joe Biden.
No, what I'm saying is that the New York Times investigation of her allegations, the New York Times investigation does not support the accusations against the vice president. I believe the Biden I know, and I think that he will make women proud, that he will make America proud.
Again, the New York Times did not do an investigation. They wrote about the allegations, and the only two things that were brought up in their reporting that go against what Tara Reade said is they asked some of the staffers who worked for Biden at the time whether Tara Reade had come forward to them, because she had alleged that she spoke to the higher ups about what she had allegedly experienced, and they did nothing about it. Now, if I'm just going to be honest, right? I think most humans in that situation, if they know that they didn't do anything about it, and now these allegations are resurfacing, they have an incentive to lie about it, right? Like, so to say, like, it's a he said, she said thing, to say, oh, well, we talked to some of Biden's staffers, some of whom are still very much in contact with him still, work with him still, probably hope to have jobs in his administration should he get elected. They said that, no, they don't recall this at all. Okay, well, is that enough evidence? Is that enough of an investigation to completely smear this woman as a liar? Yeah. I don't think so.
Well, look, or they cannot remember because it was decades ago. That's also possible. And that's fundamentally what underlies all of this. Is it is virtually impossible for anyone who wasn't actually there to know for sure. And for one of the two to potentially not remember, because he seems to have a lot of problems remembering a lot of things. And tied in with that, if this is going to be a question of who is more credible, who seems more trustworthy, there's been a lot of analysis of a variety of things that Reade has said or whatever. We also know Biden has told a lot of demonstrable lies over just the past 6 months or so as he's been campaigning. Now, that does not mean that he's lying about this, but if it's going to be down to credibility, just Google Biden arrests South Africa. There are reasons to be worried about his willingness to tell the truth as well. I think that some of what Stacey Abrams said there, I guess, she's going to say what she's going to say. And just, having been supportive of women in the past does not mean that you have to blanket accept every single claim that's made in the future. But she should not be the one that is being put out on the news to talk about this. Biden should not be shielding himself behind other women, even if they're well-respected women. He should be the one that's being talked about this. And the thing is, he's been on the news recently, and it was not asked of him. Now, maybe his appearances were contingent on it not being brought up. I don't know that for sure, but that seems like certainly a possibility. He is the one who should be talking about this. It also should have happened back when we still had, a vigorously contested primary.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.